this is where we get started?
This is where it all begins. This is a stack of frames that came from a barn find, and we call it the ultimate barn find. It was 18 Broncos in one barn. We bought the entire facility, everything inside it, and it was so tight, it was bumper to bumper and door to door. We had to climb from the rafters to be able to see the entire facility, and we still didn't have a full count when we purchased the facility. We got 18 Broncos, and here's the end result. Most of the bodies ended up going, well, into the dumpster. They were so rotted that they fell apart. And so from there, we'll put together brand new bodies that we purchased from Dennis Carpenter, and then we heavily modify to make it a Gateway Bronco. And this is where it all begins, though, with the chassis. We go from here to media blasting, and once the frame is completely media blasted, then we'll powder coat it right here in-house at Gateway Bronco.
Well, let's go take a look at the powder coat.
Let's do it.
So, Seth, we're here in powder coat. Tell me a little bit about this frame in particular.
Yeah, well, this is an original equipment frame, right? It was manufactured in 1970 by Ford Motor Company. And what we've done is we've taken it, we've gotten rid of the leaf spring rear suspension, and we've provided a 4-link suspension. So this would be the same suspension that sold on the Ryan Blaney Bronco that sold at auction for $650,000. So really taking that original frame design, but then giving it a new suspension and reimagining it to a whole new ride quality.
Yeah, what's the performance difference between that 1970s leaf spring technology and this 4-link?
It is a night and day difference. Yeah. So imagine trying to take a Bronco that had at most 200 horsepower back in the day to 650 horsepower, 700 horsepower with today's power add, the supercharger. We have a Harrop USA supercharger on that Bronco with a Coyote 5-liter engine. To put all that power to the ground, you have to have a suspension that will adapt, and that's what we've done with this 4-link.
How long does it take to get from the barn find to this point?
This is really, it's only about a week to take a raw frame, media blast it, do all of the modifications that we do for both the Coyote engine as well as for the 4-link suspension, and then powder coating, instead of waiting 4 weeks, is 1 day. It's all done in-house.
Yeah. So where's the next step from powder coating?
From powder coating, it's now a brand new part. So a brand new part then goes to the assembly side and gets put together in station 1 of our assembly, which takes 1 week from beginning to end.
Metalwork. What happens here in this station?
Yep, so this is our metal fabrication department. In this station, we take a Ford licensed body from Dennis Carpenter, and then we do about 18 proprietary modifications to it to achieve the flush and gap and to achieve the cleanliness of the engine bay that we're looking for. So we'll take the tailgate and we'll TIG weld the gaps. Instead of seam sealing, we'll physically TIG weld those gaps.
Wow.
We'll go through the entire body and prepare it. Then we'll build the roll bar, and we'll build the roll bar in-house, bending it, designing it, doing whatever a customer would like to see. And then there is the fender flare. So we make our own fender flares out of carbon fiber, and that carbon fiber fender flare has a better fit, a better look, and stability over time. It won't get wavy, it just looks beautiful forever.
Paint and body?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What happens here?
This is where we take that raw metal and we turn it into a show quality paint job for every single vehicle with the same people, the same process, and it all starts here. Keep the parts organized, have a build sheet with every one of the vehicles, so it's a traveler that describes exactly what we're going to do on the vehicle, and that starts from the very beginning and follows with the Bronco all the way through.
This one in particular is a Coyote. How many models of this Bronco are you making here?
We have 3 general models and unlimited options with each one of those models. And so the Coyote Edition is a 4-link suspension. It is a Coyote engine, obviously, but each one of our Broncos, the Fuelie Edition, the Coyote Edition, and the Lux GT, all 3 feature the Coyote powertrain.
As far as paint is concerned, I noticed the colors. Are most of these colors original factory colors, or do people choose custom? What happens
Paul,
there?
that's a great question. We are sponsored by PPG, and they provided a bank to mix any of our colors. So we will provide people with a vintage color that's discontinued and no longer available because we can custom mix it, and we've done that. We'll also provide a custom color. People that have an inspiration from Pinterest and they want to have something match their boat or match anything else that they've seen, and we'll do a color that's custom for them using that image that they send us. And then a good portion are original Bronco colors that came out of the early 70s generally, so a little more color variety. And this one is, looks like this one's going to be Brittany Blue, which is a very popular color.
So from here, where do we go?
Well, let's head to final assembly, and this is where we'll take all of these like new parts and put them together to make them into a truck.
Great, let's take a look.
All right, let's do it.
So Seth, final assembly. This thing is like a piece of artwork sitting here. It's amazing. So tell me what happens starting here.
So this is station one of our assembly, and we create our rolling chassis here. So you take your frame, you take your engine, transmission, drivetrain, fuel tank, put it all together in one place. And this one happens to be a 4-link suspension. It happens to be a coilover 4-link with a Roush Performance supercharger that's about to be installed today. So this is a Generation 3 Coyote. We're the world's first to produce the Generation 3 Coyote, the 10-speed automatic with the Roush supercharger. It's
an incredible looking piece, and you know, you can see the wildwood brakes, the coilovers, everything here. The finish work is amazing. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and this we have to thank our partners, also a licensed Ford manufacturer for the chassis. This particular chassis is an aftermarket chassis, a remanufactured product that's designed with a 4-link that is amazing. And this is Kinzer Engineering. They have a great product. We use their product in about a third to a fourth of our vehicles now, and we highly recommend their product. It's just fantastic.
With this particular model that's going to go through with this supercharged Roush motor, what kind of power will that thing be making?
Well, we dial the power back, Paul. This is a lot of power for a Bronco, a 13-foot long Bronco. So we could easily produce 700 or 800 horsepower with this, and we'll dial it back to about 500 horsepower at the rear wheels, 35-inch tire. It'll be just fine.
Should still be able to go over a couple of hills.
It's still a sport SUV.
Yeah. After station one, what happens along the line?
Yeah, so what happens after station one is we take the body, we wire the body, we prepare it to be able to be installed on the chassis. And so once it's installed on the chassis, within a week, we'll do the first fire on the vehicle without fenders and doors and interior in it. We'll have it running and driving within a week.
Are you, when you're putting wiring in these cars, are most of these Broncos going out of here with standard, like original equipment type gauges and things like that, or are you using more upgraded?
We're generally using upgraded gauges. So we'll use a Dakota digital gauge, and you know, it provides a balance of vintage with a little bit of modern. So our 10-speed transmission, it shows your park, reverse, neutral, drive right on the digital display, but yet the overall gauge looks like a vintage gauge.
So what happens as we continue on?
So as we continue on, we go down the line, we get it running and driving. We then do station 4, which is install the interior, install all the sheet metal. At that point, it looks like a complete vehicle ready to be driven, and it is. At that point, we then put 500 miles on it in station 5, and we prove out that the vehicle is ready to be delivered with at least 500 test miles to make sure that everything is ready. We then go back through and do a complete nut and bolt and a quality inspection. Every station has a quality inspection, but then after station 5, we do another complete QA review of the vehicle, have multiple managers review the entire vehicle, then it goes to detailing, photography, and out the door.
Ready to take a look at a finished product?
I say let's take a look at a finished product.
Let's do it. Finished product, here we are, and this thing is incredible. So tell us, this is where it's going to go out the door for its test drive?
It is, yes. And truly the guys deserve all the credit here. They put all of the work into it. Everyone on the assembly line is both bonus for their productivity to get it done in a week, as well as the final quality. And so none of our folks get paid their quality bonus until 30 days after the customers receive their Bronco. And so they have to have it for 30 days with no issues in the field, and then the bonus gets paid. And so this is just one of many, and it's ready to go into our test miles and flush out any kind of vibrations or any nuances of the vehicle. So when the owner gets it, they're ready to drive it immediately. We had one owner who flew here and drove it 1,200 miles to Florida.
The finish, the polish, I mean, the glass, everything about it is just incredible. Even though it's custom, it still gives you like that, I don't know, that vibe from that era.
Oh, it's definitely a vintage vibe. Now, this is a vehicle that is really unique here. It is a 4-link suspension, Porsche leather interior, and a Generation 3 Coyote with a custom paint, custom leather. It's going to have a proprietary and patent pending convertible top.
Oh, wow.
So press of a button and have the convertible top go down. No one in the industry has it. We've developed it over a 2-year process, and it is patent pending. This also has C-deck flooring throughout, so it's washable flooring like you'd find in a boat, and every square inch of the flooring is covered by the C-deck.
Do you fear that you're ever going to run out of donor Broncos?
Paul, that's a great question. And you know, we're not afraid of that because we're licensed from Ford Motor Company. We can do one of 3 configurations, and one of those is a brand new vehicle. We can build a brand new, 100% new vehicle using a licensed Ford Motor Company frame, a licensed Ford Motor Company body, and then we are the licensed manufacturer to put it all together and create a 1960s or 70s Bronco that's brand new today. So we don't even need a donor vehicle for those vehicles, and so we're not worried.
It's like building one out of thin air.
It is.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah. All stainless exhaust. We custom design our exhaust to meet whatever the customer's looking for. And, you know, we can make it sound any way somebody would like. We build our own mufflers if we have to. We've also got active tuned exhaust so people can press a button and get exactly what they want.
Well, it certainly sounds different than the 70s Broncos that I remember.
We, you know, we really appreciate the old pushrod engine, but you cannot take 50 years of engineering and go from the old pushrod small block Ford to a Coyote powertrain. There is no comparison, and we're about to find out what that comparison looks like.
That'll put a smile on your face.
Yeah, it's
That's awesome.
It's a great feel. It's a great vibe.